All right, hello everybody. This is a little test pattern, little thing I put together. I have a little Lego village I started over here to my left of the studio here. And what I did is I moved the laptop over there with the screen, and the screen kind of acts like a backdrop to the Lego village. And I figured, what better to have playing on that screen than a Lego clip. A friend of mine watching, honey. Yeah, I was visiting his park. I was just showing him some of the clips I put together. Man, he's got an awesome park. I love it. He did an awesome job. And this is Sergeant. This is me dressed up as Sergeant. No, not yet. This is my other costume I had on. This is before I was able to get the skeleton costume. So I came up with this, trying to look similar to maybe a skeleton type creature type thing. It's a Halloween costume. Old Grizz dressed up for Halloween because it is getting on to Halloween here. We do have Halloween candy. I went and got enough before it all sold out, and sitting there the last day going, "Oh man, poor kids." So kids, all kids matter. All kids' lives matter. So I got the candy for them. So. Oh, nice. He's sending me message. I can read him, and I'll go back and I'll have a chat here in a little bit. But I want to get this put in, and like I said, this is where I'm changing my into my costume. Um, I went and I actually had to buy some money. I bought some of those. I got 760 up there now, and it costs a little bit for this package, but I wanted this skeleton package. It's got some neat things in here too that maybe I can do. Here it is, and there you go. This is Sergeant Bones, my costume of Sergeant Bones. Um, I did something too with him. Yeah, I think that was on that Minecraft one I posted where we went and visited his compound, and I went as Sergeant Bones. And this is me dressing up for this little bit here. And what this bit is, I don't have a beginning, I don't have an ending. For the simple reason, what I want to do is I want to put it over there. I want to have it looping through so I can play it on medium player or even on video player. And that way I don't have to run YouTube over there because I don't want them ads popping up. So where I'd be recording here in the studio and then something pop up over there and I can't use it because it's got the copyright issue on it. That's why I turned YouTube off here when I started recording this because I have a playlist that I play when I'm not recording of some old, I call it my soft rock. It's rock and roll and stuff I grew up with, and stuff I liked when I was a kid. Us old hippies back in the 70s, we listened to that rock and roll stuff that started in the 50s and kind of went on through the 60s. It made a big impression in the 70s and the 80s. It's still there. Us rock and rollers are still here. We haven't gone away. Maybe there's something over the top on the main line or the mainstream of everything, but you know what? I still like that old music. I think everybody does. Everybody has the nostalgia music. So, being a musician, I like the rhythms and stuff. Like I don't know. I think the ones that got me would be maybe the easiest or the simplest because you could always join in singing and stuff like that. The words weren't that hard to remember, or you could understand them. That's just the way. Uh, I think it's the same thing with my kids when they grew up. They grew up in with a different generation, a different taste for music and performances and stuff like that. So, and I remember our youngest boys and all our boys when they're growing up and some of the things they were listening to, and it's like, okay, it's got all right. And so I don't knock it. I'm a musician, so I know what it means to play music. I like all different varieties of type of music. One might be a little easier to play. One might like I've learned a couple riffs that I constantly go to that I like playing because they're fun to play, and I recognize them when I play them, and it's kind of like, yeah, okay. And then like when you're playing music, and if you're just freestyling, just hey turtle, look at that, cool. This my there's Sergeant Bones. There are Sergeant Bones. I'm sitting here, and this is it. No, this is the old Skyway view, Skyview Highway. This is and what I was doing with this here one is I have one straight path. It goes straight through everything, and everything's off that path. And it was my way of exploring the map without having to go out and get lost. And I'd always have resources that I could fall back onto because they're right there on the road as I created the road going across the map. And that's what this. That's why I call it Skyview Highway, because when I get on the main road, you can just follow that all the way back to my main starting point where I started my main building at. We will take a run there here in a little bit, and we've all been through here before. You know, I've shown this. I just had to go back. It's nostalgia. I still had it saved, and they had to convert it over to the new system because it was an old map, and I was kind of always impressed with it. I enjoyed it. So and I had the different places. There's one place for making cobblestone. Then there's like a barn type here for cattle and sheep where I can get hay. Oh, that's up here. The farm is where you can get hay to feed the cattle, to feed the sheep. You can get the wool there. You can dye wool. So I create all these little places along the way. Oh, maybe this is where it's at. Yep, right here. See, stockade. That's what I meant. Stockade for animals, indoor. Look at that. They're all protected. They got fine grass growing, and I feed them. You can feed them. I got hay. I, so I got a little bit of planters in there where I can plant some hay. We'll go and take a look here in a sec. There, see, you can harvest all that. I've got some in the chest there. It's kind of glitching a little bit, so, but in this chest is where see how it's glitching. It didn't pop up until I started to delete there. See, my computer's. I probably got a lot of stuff I'm gonna have to clear out of my memory. Um, like my friend suggested too, it says it'd be a good idea maybe to get one of those external hard drives. Then I could take all this off the PlayStation, and I'd have a place to store it, leaving the station more memory to work with. So I might look into that. I think I want to get a camera for the PlayStation as well, but you get a view of the studio here, me doing some recording and stuff like that. I might be able to do in picture stuff. I know I could do it on the PC because I have OCS on there, but I don't have a decent camera for that yet. I got my Rebel, but I don't really want to use that on that. I want to get like a nice little video camera that I could actually hook it at and it'd be like a closed circuit camera that I could use in the studio, and that way I can get pictures of the drummer, our studio drummer, poser. I want to do some stuff with me as Mr. Ed, doing the voice of Ed the bass player, because I want to get that bass going again. We did a little bit. We did a little bit with the drums too, so I got to. In fact, there's one clip that I created called the Drummer Boy Cadence, and I usually on one of my machines I got it playing up in the corner, and once in a while you can hear the drum in the background. Um, but that's what I'm kind of trying to create here. That if you think of a spaceship out at space, and if that ship is alive with people in it moving around, and it's being propelled through space, that ship's going to have a life of itself. There's going to be a feeling to it. And I can imagine that's what it's like on board uh, ocean vessels and stuff, where even were on board ship for a long time, you get to feel that ship, and then when the engines stop, you know something. You can feel it. Well, that's kind of what I was trying to create with the drummer boy cadence. To have that steady, that rhythm going. When the captain's not on the bridge and captain's taking a break, the drummer boy puts in um, a, a track that keeps the ship rolling, like it goes into like a sleep mode, you might say, if they're not into any combat situation or if it's a long travel period. Um, that's where the drummer boy puts these tracks in, and that keeps the ship running because the ship reacts to the sound of those drums. Um, and like I said, the minute the commander gives a command, the captain gives a command, like all ahead full or sound out, let them know that we're here. Boom, the drummer boy changes the cadence. The minute he changes, everybody on the ship knows what to do because they're linked with the ship, which is linked with the drummer boy that's passing the word on. I know it sounds kind of abstract, kind of weird, but it goes back to the day when battlefields had no radios or communications, and drums was the way of communicating with their troops, right? Telling them what to do. The commander would give a command, and the drummer would drum out that command, and then the the troops would be able to hear the drum and know what to do. So, like for instance, if you let's say you got a big group that you maybe want to flank a little bit to the right, well, you give a flank right, and then the drummer boy do the cadence, and then they start flanking right, right. The minute the drummer boy does that, the group starts to react. So you can imagine somebody that's doing that as opposed to somebody maybe just sitting there, and uh, they're reacting while the other ones have to pull everything together before they can even start to react. Guess who's got the upper hand in a situation like that? Usually the one that can react immediately, and even if it's just to get away. You say, "Oh my word, we got to," and then like all head full, get the heck out of here, boom, boom, and Hazard's gone, man. You missed her, man. You had your chance, and um, Hazardous Triple X does not travel alone. She travels with a task force. There's Sugar Rush, which is an intelligence ship. I have a captain. I can't remember. See, I got this stuff written down. The captain of the Sugar Rush is a long time part of that group. She has a lot of respect for Captain Barron, and she had a lot of respect for his father when he was captain of the Hazardous and the task force back in the day. And that was back to a lot of it started back. There's the story with Barbarossa and how that all unfolded. There's still kinship, friendship between Barbara and Hazardous, and it's sometimes if there's a thing that um, Barbara needs done or needs help with, maybe to promote her business, she does go to Hazard to ask for help because she can trust Hazard Trip, to do a decent, to do the right thing always. So it's Hazardous Triple X. The whole task force is like an independent task force. At one time, they were attached to something. I'm not quite sure. I haven't made up the history on all that yet. But there's a history with Captain Barron, the father. I've alluded to that story a little bit and saying, well, that's a story for another time. I might sit down and write something up on that. But for right now, I'm doing Hazardous Triple X stuff because that has to do with the face. That has to do with Jazzy Jazz. And the bass player, Porter, Tommy Tom Tom. And Jazzy Jazz, she's TC of our tank command. She's tank commander of our Panther. Loop this.